and welcome to New York City, Marquette fans. We're outside Madison Square Garden at the Big East Tournament. I'm Mark Freund, and joining me today are Mike Wottreng and Matt Trebby, both of whom will be broadcasting all of Marquette's Big East Tournament games on WMUR, MarquetteRadio.org. And guys, first things first, we learned over the weekend that Darius Johnson-Odom, Jay Crowder, of course, first team All Big East. Jay Crowder, unanimous selection. But then yesterday came the big news as Marquette and the Big East announced that Jay Crowder is your Big East Player of the Year. So guys, Mike, we'll start with you. What do you think this means for Marquette's program as a whole?
Well, I think Buzz said it perfectly the other day. People were ripping on him for having junior college talent on his team, and they just became first-team All-Big East members and won a Big East Player of the Year. I mean, now there isn't going to be that much criticism no matter who Buzz decides to recruit, be junior college, high school talent. Now it means that this could potentially be some top 50 talent that can pan out here at Marquette.
Yeah, and if you wonder about all these JUCO guys coming in, like Mike said, imagine if a top 25 or top 30 guy comes here. If he thinks, well, a junior college guy could win Big East Player of the Year, what could I do? You know, possibly first-team All-American, something like that. So it's huge for the program, not only for Jay Crowder, who, you know, a lot of people wondering if he can do more after Marquette and DJO as well. But, you know, it's just, like Mike said, it's huge for the program as these guys were expected to, you know, be role players maybe at best.
Absolutely. And now we'll move on to the tournament a little bit. Seton Hall and Louisville play tonight at 7 o'clock. That's 6 o'clock Milwaukee time. And Marquette's going to draw the winner of that game. Who do you guys see winning that game, and what do you think that how they match up against Marquette?
Well, I think Louisville will win, but Seton Hall's desperate. If they win, they're probably in the tournament. They had a big win last night, 32-point victory. I think if they win, Marquette would match up a lot better against them as they beat them in Milwaukee earlier in the season. Louisville has Kyle Keurig back. That could be a matchup problem, a team that likes to press as well, get out and run. Scoring has been a problem for them at times this season. But I look for Marquette to have a good matchup, irregardless of who it is.
Yeah, and I would say I think it will be Louisville, and I think Marquette will have that game last year, their third in 3 days on the Thursday in the quarterfinals, where Louisville completely ran them out of the gym.
Right.
I think that'll be on their mind. But as Mike said, Louisville they match up so well against Seton Hall. I think, you know, they can run, they can shoot, and really Seton Hall only has one good defensive perimeter player in Fuquan Edwin. Otherwise, I think the Cardinals will definitely roll over the Pirates, and I could see definitely Marquette winning against Louisville.
See, I see Louisville winning the game, and you know what? I actually think Louisville could be a very dangerous team for Marquette. I mean, lately they've struggled to score. Louisville has only topped 60 points, I think, once in their last 5 games. But I think they match up well against Marquette. And we saw what happened in Milwaukee. They got off to a hot start. I think Louisville's a dangerous team, and just 2 months ago they were the number 4 team in the country.
I would say to that, as you talked about, they're having trouble scoring, and we're talking about how Marquette and Louisville are both great transition teams.
Sure. Marquette
obviously is a superior transition team, and it's going to come down to whoever can score in transition off of defensive stops, and I think that's definitely Marquette for me.
All right, and Marquette fans are going to be hoping that the Golden Eagles can make a big run in the tournament. But if they do, they'll need some X factors, some guys to step up with some big performances. Guys, who are you looking for? Give me one guy on Marquette's team that's going to be an X factor for their tournament success this year.
I think much like it was last year, Junior Cadogan needs to play really well, and they're 16-0 when he has 6 or more assists. So it's him passing the basketball, not necessarily scoring the basketball, that's going to be important for this team to advance. I mean, he's been 1 of 8 in games that they've lost, struggling to score, looks for his offense a little bit more. LSU game comes to mind in that regard. I think that he's going to be really important for this team, not necessarily to score, but to run the offense, not turn the ball over, and if they do play Louisville, to be able to fend Peyton Siva in transition.
I think for me it's Devontae Gardner. We've seen the last few years when Marquette loses in the Big East Tournament. 2 years ago to Georgetown, they lost by, I think it was 23. Last year, lose by, I think, 25 to Louisville. It's depth. I think Devontae Gardner brings that extra guy that they need. He brings a down-low presence, so we're not going to have to see Jamale Jones and Vander Blue playing much more power forward. And also, I mean, you know, late in games, when they're up, they're not going to have to keep running the court. They're going to be able to feed Devontae down low. He'll be able to take time off the clock, get to the free throw line. He'll be able to give Marquette that much-needed breather. So I think depth is very big when you have to play 3 games in 3 days. I think Devontae Gardner brings that for Marquette.
I think the biggest question for Marquette fans is how is Devontae Gardner really? I mean, I know Buzz said he was 80%. To me, he looks more 70, 75. So yeah. I know he pulled in 8 boards and had 8 points in their last game, but I think that's a big question going forward. Finally, we'll close it out with one question, give me one team and a reason. Who's going to win the Big East tournament, Mike?
I think it's Georgetown. I think that they're the kind of team that can win an NCAA tournament and Big East tournament kind of play. It's a lot easier to slow the game down than it is to speed it up. They do a great job at slowing the game down. I think it'll be Georgetown Marquette in the championship, but I think Georgetown's going to get a little bit of revenge of what happened last weekend.
See, I have the same final as him. I have Georgetown Marquette. I think Georgetown's going to take down Syracuse. They're a perfect team to do it. They almost did it at the Carrier Dome earlier this year. I think they'll do that. But I think Marquette matches up really, really well against Georgetown. Outside those last 10 minutes in D.C., Marquette has had their way with the Hoyas. They've been able to run them up and down the court. They've been able to, really, as I mentioned, have their way. So I see Marquette actually winning the Big East tournament. Also, I think they'll have Louisville, and then they might get South Florida in the semifinals. So that'll be a pretty easy trip for me into the Big East Championship. And, assuming I'm correct, which happens a lot.
Oh, no, it doesn't.
I think Georgetown is going to beat Syracuse, and then Marquette's going to take down the Hoyas to win the Big East Championship.
All right, good stuff, guys. Mike Wottreng, Matt Trebby will be broadcasting all Marquette's games on WMUR Marquette Radio. So if you can't tune in to ESPN, check them out online. I'm Mark Freund. Thanks for watching MUTV's Big East Tournament preview from Madison Square Garden.